Good afternoon to all. First of all, I would like to Dr. Charu Sharma. I would like to invite the ma'am to open this session on pandemic and people. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Purnima. It's a pleasure to have amongst us distinguished speakers from different parts of the world who are connecting together today as a family, as one unit, facing challenges from across the globe and coming here at this platform to share their experiences and to enlighten our audience, our participants who are eagerly awaiting for this enlightening session from all the speakers. I too am looking forward to the expert views and experiences that will be shared across in this session. So I welcome everyone on behalf of Bhagini Nivedita College. And of course, a big thanks to Dr. Purnima and Dr. Vishal, who've been instrumental in getting this webinar all set and having a list of eminent distinguished guests, speakers from across the globe. So over to you, Dr. Purnima.
Now, let's proceeding. Better than 1,000 days of delegation is one day with a great teacher. That's Dr. Vandana Mitra, Associate Professor in Government College. She established a physics lab and supervised and co-supervised a number of PhD students. She has published more than 30 papers in international journals, several book chapters, and recently engaged in online lesson plans on integrating climate change with curriculum. She availed Vikas Fellowship at University College London and Raman Fellowship at State University of New York. Recipient of many awards, Meritorious Teacher Award, Teaching Excellence Award, Deen Bandhu Sahu Memorial Award, UGC Utility Thematic Partnership Award, acting as a tutor and observer for research-based pedagogical workshops in various parts of the country, also developed online resource on nanotechnology. She is actively associated with e-waste awareness and safe disposal workshops and own a mug initiative in the college. It's been an honor to share this platform with you, ma'am. Thank you for accepting our invitation to chair this session. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Very good afternoon to one and all. Thanks for the kind introduction. It's a delight to be a part of this international virtual conference, Vasudev Kutumbakam, meaning word is one family, on science, people, environment, and pandemic. I would like to extend my hearty congratulations to the principal of the college, Dr. Charu Sharma, conveners Dr. Vishal Chaudhary and Dr. Purnima Dhal, as well as the members of the organizing committee of the Research and Community Engagement and Outreach Cell for their untiring and dedicated work to organize this wonderful international virtual conference. Greetings to all the participants from India and abroad. There are expert talks on diverse fields which will immensely benefit students and faculty members alike. A big salute to the warriors for their selfless help and exemplary services. The pandemic has impacted on a scale which is unprecedented. The whole world has been engulfed into a situation where there are local and global issues. Not a single strategy will be effective, but a range of new strategies, techniques, and methodologies needs to be evolved. In these testing times, we need to adapt to the upcoming changes in multiple ways. We have already adapted ourselves to webinars, virtual conferences in just no time, which is evident from the surge in online teaching and learning in the past couple of months. The illuminating talks by the eminent academicians, scientists, and panel discussions and presentations by the young scientists can pave the way for piecing together better strategies and hopefully possible solutions. The definition of normal will now be changed in the new era. and will be applicable in the way, and there will be different ways in which we would meet, travel, shop, and learn in the future. The market trends, our priorities, our decisions will also be influenced. Today, it is our proud privilege to listen to a galaxy of experts representing from different fields. These case studies, innovations in pioneering research, and strategies surely will prepare us for a seamless transition to the post-COVID era. The opening of this session commences with an eminent speaker, Professor Radhe S. Pradhan, a professor at Central Department of Management, Tribhuvan University, Kathmandu, Nepal. He is an academic director of Uniglobe College, Nepal since 2014. He has been a Fulbright visiting faculty at Florida State University, as well as a member of the Management Cluster Committee, University Grants Commission, Bhaktapur, Nepal. He obtained a PhD degree in 1986 from University of Delhi. He is recipient of Dirgha Seva Padak 2061, a long-term medal service in 2004, and Mahendra Vidya Bhushan, a class medal from His Majesty King Birendra in 1988. He has authored 13 books on management and supervised 12 PhD thesis of Tribhuvan University with many more in progress. He has authored 117 articles, participated in numerous conferences, and has undertaken many consultancy projects with his introduction. With this introduction, we look forward to his talk on People and Pandemic, a case of Nepal. He would deliberate on the effects of deadly virus on various sectors as well as on the condition of the migrant workers and daily wagers. He will elaborate on relief package by the Nepal government. Although the recovery path is yet unknown, what form will it take is also unknown. But trying to listen to him, and join me in welcoming Professor Radhe S. Pradhan for his much awaited talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
To begin with, let me try to open my slides first.
Yes, sir.
My slide is visible, ma'am?
No, sir, it's not visible.
My slide is visible?
No, it's not visible.
It's visible now, sir. You can start the view. I mean, full screen view.
Is it visible now?
No, sir, still it's not visible.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Yes,
now
sir.
it's visible, sir.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. The chairperson of this session, Dr. Bantna, the principal of this college,
Thank you.
Dr. Charu Sharma, and the organizers of this international webinar, Dr. Vishal and Dr. Purnima, all the dignitaries online, all the online viewers and participants. First of all, let me extend my greetings from Nepal. Good afternoon and namaskar. This is Professor Dr. Radheshyam Pradhan. I got retired after teaching for 40 years in Tribhuvan University. Nepal, which used to be the first national university of Nepal and which is still the largest university of Nepal. And presently, I am working as academic director in Uniglobe College, which is affiliated to Pokhara University. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. And I would also like to extend congratulations to the organizers for organizing this kind of international virtual conference that also on very pertinent and important topic. I was there in inaugural session also, listening to different experts and participants, and very useful deliberations have been made. I really enjoyed, and it was really useful. Once again, congratulations to the organizers. And I always enjoy listening to professors from India. And in Uniglobe College, we organize international conference every year. And I would like to invite all of you to our international conference also, which is usually organized in March. Now, I have prepared some slides. I'm here to explain some of the aspects of people and pandemic, a case of Nepal. So welcome you all in this session. And this novel coronavirus has created widespread concerns, and Nepal is no exception. The social, political, economic, and educational impacts of this situation have been widespread and are unprecedented, affecting almost every walk of people. I have tried to show you some of the places of interest in Kathmandu and Nepal in connection with this presentation. And I would be very glad if I could see you in Uniglobe College, Kathmandu, Nepal sometimes and someday. As per the recent analysis of the Asian Development Bank, the outbreak of this deadly disease will hit almost every sector. So it means affecting almost every people. It will render many people to have less income, less saving, less investment, and less capital formation. In Nepal, the impact has already started to surface in number of sectors like tourism, trade, production linkages, supply, and health. Especially the people working in entire service industries like tourism, aviation, and hospitality sector have been hit hard by the outbreak. Nepal declared 2020 as the Visit Nepal year and aimed to bring in 2 million foreign tourists, almost double the figure from the previous year. But finally, it got cancelled, which has shattered hopes and aspirations of the people working in the hospitality and tourism-related business sector. Many new investments have been made in hotels and other tourism-related infrastructure, which are now looks like being wasted. And opportunity to create additional income and employment to people has been lost. Likewise, cancellation of all spring mountaineering expeditions, including Everest ascents, has resulted job loss of around 30,000 tour, trekking, and mountain guides. In Nepal, all schools and colleges were closed, and all academic examinations were also cancelled, thus affecting every student. No business activities in and around colleges and universities means decrease in income to all those businessmen. And thousands of Indian and Nepalese migrant workers stranded at Indo-Nepal border due to pandemic. Amid extended lockdown, large number of Nepali migrant workers enter home from India using an unauthorized route. And for the tourists stranded in Nepal's lockdown, some hotels offered free or cheaper lunch and dinner. The outbreak has affected people's lives so much, which is unparalleled in the history of mankind. The economic fallout of pandemic is obvious in Nepal too, like in other countries. Nepal's economy is now expected to grow by 2.27% in 2019-20, 2020-21, sorry for this mistake, a sharp drop from the targeted growth of 8.5%. And lockdown is adversely affecting farmers too. Dairy industry, it has been estimated that dairy industry faces a loss of rupees 2 billion affecting the people working in this industry. Thousands of foreigners got stranded in Nepal and suffered greatly due to lockdown. But somehow they were able to leave Nepal amid lockdown. So they were lifted up by their respective governments. So that means, again, a loss of income to Nepalese people, Nepalese entrepreneurs. And banks will be suffering in loss of their investments in business due to coronavirus. As the manufacturing industries were closed, people working in these industries also suffered greatly because most of the raw materials, including pharmaceutical chemicals, come from China, and supply of these raw materials had already stopped. People working in poultry industries are also greatly affected by pandemic, and poultry business has faced a loss of above rupees 220 million daily due to lockdown. Foreign employment has been solving Nepal's unemployment problems greatly. It has been contributing significantly to country's economy in the form of remittance. However, good times do not always last long. Nepal had to suspend issuance of workers' permit to Nepalese for all countries. Remittances dropped considerably, and due to this, income also declined for the people. The money that labor migrants sent back in 2019 contributed 26% to the country's GDP. In these 2 months of lockdown, remittance has contributed less than 1% in country's economy. The downturn in remittance has created severe impact on overall consumption in the country. If we look at government revenue collection has declined sharply. Imports and exports have also declined. The wholesale and retail sector of Nepal is the second largest contributor to the economy after agriculture. The sector contributes 14.37% to the economy, which is already being affected by the downfall in imports, mainly from China and India. Tourism sector has been suffering due to the absence of tourists. People working in this sector is having a difficult time. Looking ahead, there is now a high risk of general inflation affecting every people again. Mount Everest climbing season also got halted. On arrival visa by Nepal government is also being halted. The construction sector has been hit by lockdown. Nepal cuts growth forecast to lowest in 4 years. And Nepal airport, which has been undertaking a lot of construction activities, strengthening activities. Now, Nepal airport project also faces delay due to coronavirus. The construction sector, which imports most of its building materials from China, has also come to the halt as the Chinese contractors and workers who went home for the Chinese New Year could not return. The public construction projects have also been affected. That means, again, people working in these projects have reduced income because they have become jobless almost now. Hotel Association of Nepal has shut down hotels for 6 months due to pandemic affecting the people working in these hotels. So the people working in hotels have also gone jobless. Nepal domestic and international airlines, along with other transport companies, have now to struggle for survival. Again, it means decline in income of the people working in these sectors. Decline in income means decline in consumptions. Decline in consumption means decline in investments. So decline in investments means decline in whole of corporate sector, and decline in whole of corporate sector means decline in capital formation and growth of the nation as a whole. And Nepal currency has already depreciated so much against US dollar. It will lead to good deal of inflation. Again, it is going to affect the people as a whole. 20,000 tour, trek, and mountaineering guides lost their livelihood when mountaineering was suspended. The non-performing loan ratio for commercial banks was 1.71%, but this can now rise quickly once begin to go sour. Lockdown has not impacted everyone in the same way. Migrant workers and daily wage workers are among the hardest hit by restrictions. For them, no income virtually. That means there is no sector which is not affected by pandemic. There is there are no people which are not affected by pandemic. So that means each and everyone has been affected by pandemic. The government announced a relief package which mandates, among others, that food to the needy be provided at the local level, and employers continue to pay workers during the lockdown. Nepal government took like bank, that is the central bank of Nepal, cut the cash reserve ratio for banking and financial institutions to 3% from 4%. Loan installment deadline can now make their payment by mid-July. So these are the various measures taken by the government. And these are the problems faced by the people. There are some positive out there, like due to pandemic, pollution level declined significantly. Kathmandu airport gets facelift during the lockdown because construction work was going on during this lockdown period. Several forward to keep the newspaper during the lockdown. During lockdown, free food distribution became a common phenomenon in Nepal. Internet banking and mobile banking activities increased significantly. Digital transactions increased significantly. E-learning increased significantly. Online shopping increased significantly. And many people achieved yogic health during lockdown. Many people got more time for meditation and fitness, and people got more time to spend with family during the lockdown, and webinars became more popular due to pandemic, and children were using free time in their own way. And US government provides personal protective equipment PPE to contain novel coronavirus in Nepal. India provided Nepal with 23 tons of essential medicines to fight coronavirus and also 30,000 PCR test kits for COVID patients. And Nepal gets free fresh donation of medical supplies from China. And UN yesterday handed over 1,200 PPE kits to Nepal government. Government of Nepal and the World Bank signed $29 million financing agreement for Nepal's COVID-19 response. Nepal ADB signs $250 million loan recently for Nepal's COVID-19 response. Despite of these efforts, nonetheless, these measures will be enough because as of June 5, 2020, that is as of today, the coronavirus cases increased to 2,634, number of deaths increased to 10, number of recovered also increased, but increased marginally by 290. And if you look at this graph on total coronavirus cases, so most recently it has increased significantly. And if you look at this daily news cases in Nepal,
Sorry to
it
interrupt
all
you, sir.
increased significantly.
Sorry to
And
sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sir, you have excuse me, sir. Sir, you have to
Yes.
share your presentation again.
Sorry,
Sir, you have to
Yes,
share your
sir.
presentation.
Your presentation is not visible now, sir.
not visible now. Earlier it was visible. Was it visible
Yes, sir.
earlier?
Not visible. Kindly. And sir, can I also request you to conclude in few minutes because there is other speakers are also waiting.
Yes, I am virtually completing. So now just 2-3 slides. So that means the situation is very alarming in Nepal. So surely there will be a decline in income of the people, leading to a decline in saving and investment. There will be a decline in corporate sector, which is the backbone of any economy, and it will lead to decline in capital formation. Nobody knows how long does it take to recover. Surely recovery may not be so easy. Recovery will be whether it will be V-shaped. If it is V-shaped, well and good, excellent. Otherwise, it could be U-shaped also, or it could be L-shaped also. If it is L-shaped, then we will be taking longer time to recover. Although we are yet to experience full impact and aftermath of the coronavirus, this worldwide threat has already created uncertainty among the people of all kinds at all levels. It's time for policymakers to make a good and safe policy for faster recovery of the economy as a whole. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I pray to Lord Pashupatinath for safe and happy life of each and everyone. Good luck and best wishes.
Thank you, Professor Pradhan, for delivering this talk on current situation which has impacted every sphere of life in Nepal as well. Such a scenic beauty in Nepal, it is really eye-catching, and let's hope that the relief package is beneficial for the maximum and there are speedy paths of recovery with strategic planning. Thank you so much for your gracious presence, and we all are thankful to you.
Someday, I look forward to seeing you in Kathmandu, ma'am.
Yes, sir. It will be our pleasure, sir. And you too are invited to visit India. Sir, there is a question by one of the participants that how Nepal is able to tackle with COVID Sakshi Pachori YouTube live?
It's not very clear. Would you please repeat, ma'am?
So there is a question that how Nepal is able to tackle with COVID Sakshi Pachori YouTube live.
How Nepal is able to tackle
Tackle
COVID-19?
COVID.
Is that the
Basically, there is a question there is a question on the YouTube live that how Nepal is able to tackle with COVID. If you could answer this.
Well, right now, lockdown is going on. With lockdown also, number of infected people is also increasing. And so far, there is no relaxation in lockdown. And lockdown is likely to continue for a few more days. And government is coming up with a number of gates for the people coming from outside. First of all, they have to sit in those gates, maybe for a week, maybe for 10 days, 2 weeks. Then if nothing happens, then only they will be allowed to go home. And this kind of arrangement has been made in many towns, many cities. And from today, government has been lifting Nepalese people who are living abroad, like Dubai, like this. So they have also to spend some time in these beds. So this is the major plan.
Thank you so much, sir, for your informative and as well as insightful talk. And we will look forward to meet you as well as call you in the college. And thank you so much. Thank you. Next invited talk is by Dr. Thank you very much, sir. Second invited talk is by Dr. Sundar Rajdeep, who has completed his master's in communication and journalism from Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. He is currently head of Department of Communication and Journalism and chairman BOS in Media Studies, University of Mumbai. He teaches media laws, reporting and current affairs, research methodologies, and metropolitan journalism. He has supervised 15 PhD students and has more than 8 publications. He has received many awards, including Best Short Film Script on Media and Accessibility, organized by Ali Yawar, Jung National Institute for Hearing and Handicapped, Mumbai, and Department of Journalism and Mass Communication of EFL University, Shillong, and National Level Business Communication Trainer of the Year 2015 by Public Relations Council of India at New Delhi in March 2015, awarded by the Union Minister of Tribal Affairs, Dr. Joal Oram. Today, Professor Sundar Rajdeep will present a talk under the theme People and Pandemic, Red Zone Mumbai Educational Institutional Challenges. The reopening of educational institutes has a plethora of challenges, which need strategic planning and viable solutions until a vaccine is readily available. Looking forward to his enlightening talk, we welcome Dr. Sundar Rajdeep. Thank you, sir, and over to you. Sir, I would say that, sir, you are not audible. Please unmute your... Yeah.
Am I audible you?
Yes, sir. Now it is audible. Yeah, now it is audible, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Thank
I
you,
would
madam.
say I will... Yeah, sir, this
Thank you,
talk is
madam.
for 15 minutes. Yeah, sir, I would
Sure.
like to... yes, sir. Thank you so much for your help.
Thank you very much, madam. Such a wonderful words for me on the great occasions of environmental days.
That's
Hello,
true.
everyone. Thank you, Dr. Vishal and his dynamic team from Research Cell of Bhagini Nivedita College, Delhi, under the special scheme of Community Engagement and Outreach Cell, who have taken initiative to arrange the International Virtual Conference on Science, People, Environment, and Pandemic. Moving towards our main topic, people and pandemic. Red Zone Mumbai Educational Institutional Challenges. The, the largest population density and voice capital of, hello,
Yes, sir.
Whether you are audible, please continue.
yeah, the slides are moving around, moving ahead. The second slide, hello.
No, not yet. Not yet. Your second slide is not yet, I think, moved. Yeah,
Okay.
now it is done.
The largest population density and voice capital of the country, Mumbai is now passing through and facing various challenges prevention from the pandemic situation. Until there is a treatment, or vaccine for COVID-19, public health will depend heavily on decision by institution leaders. Technology and systematic thinking can help. Perhaps the single biggest implications of reopening national education is that responsibilities and the liabilities for dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic will shift from the traditional teaching learning to online learning management system. Here is a simple but powerful framework for creating a plan. The current crisis is driven by health problem. We don't yet have a treatment for a vaccine for the novel coronavirus. Educational institutions have little control over that, but until the health problems is solved, place of classroom learning will be opportunities for infected people for infect others. This creates a strategic problem requiring management solutions and policymakers do have control over those. The institution management problem is whether and how to reopen its institutions, given that workplace spread of the virus remain a real threat. The institution problem is caused by an information gap. We don't know who has the virus infections and who had it immunity and who has never had it suspectable. If we had that information, there would be no situational crisis. We would simply require infections people to quarantine while the vast majority who are healthy go, go about life as unusual. There are two types of solutions to that problem. First, information based
Sir,
solution involve preceding, pre- predicting who is infectious and who is immune, and then using this information to decide who get to enter the workplace. Second one is since its predictions will inevitable be infected are always on solution technologies and process that limit the spread of virus when infectious peoples do enter. Lockdown is the most extreme, always on solutions. Solutions reopening require nouns nouns one. The information based on solutions. There are a variety of ways to collect information on who is likely to be infectious. Most obviously, people can be tested for the novel coronavirus, for example, swab test. This test can sometimes be quite unreliable. They are now always readily available. They are not always readily unavailable, and getting result can take days. Still, over time, this situation should improve. Eventually, we anticipate organizations will be doing widespread.
Sir, sorry to interrupt your slides. Sir, sorry to interrupt. Your slides are not visible. So, can you share the slides in case you are using?
Now,
Not yet.
just a moment, just a moment. I'm trying to find out.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Now it is visible.
Yeah. Sorry for some technical glitches. Uh, yeah. Dear friends, the information-based solutions, there are a variety of ways to collect information on who is likely to be infectious. Most obviously, people can be tested over the novel coronavirus, for example, swab test. I think this portion we have done. Still, over time, these solutions should improve. Eventually, we anticipate organizations will be doing widespread, frequent employees or student testings. Another another form of information collection is monitoring symptoms, especially mild one that the patient may not even notice. In some countries, people already have their temperature checked before they are allowed to enter an office, restaurant, airplane, or subways. This is useful but imperfect. Some people with fevers will not have the coronavirus, while others without fever may nevertheless be infected. Combining temperature check with other diagnostic information such as hospital-based chest X-ray and blood oxygen level level may improve accuracy. These forms of information collection may be less accurate than direct test for the virus, but they may be cheaper, faster, and easier to employers to implement regularly and at scale. There are also ways to monitor different parts of our workplace for sign of an outbreak, even if we don't know who is infected. Sensors are being developed that could detect the coronavirus in the air. Other tests can, can pick up trace of it in sewage. Machine learning tools could combine these and information from other sensors to predict the likelihood that someone in a building or neighborhood is infected and order individual tests for everyone. In our general observations, we describe how how advances in artificial intelligence enable increasingly complex predictions from wide from from a wide variety. Now turning towards always on solutions until the information management solution we have discussed just ramp up. Always on solution will be the primary approach institutions had used to reopen their institutions. Friends, all sort of decisions that previously would have been made on the basis of productivity and efficiency efficiency now need to always consider the possibility of infections in other sector like the restaurant industry. The flow of people in and out of the kitchen is now an infection risk management problem. In the retail fashion industry, decision about whether to open changing room or allow customer to try item item on are now infections risk management problems. Moving from physical to digital documents now reduce infection risks as well, increasing efficiency and wasting less paper. The risk of transferring the virus by exchanging cash increases. The relative benefits of digital payment system. To date, we have seen two broad type of always on solution. The first kind do not change the number, aim to make those interactions less risky. Things like mask, hand sanitizer solutions, and plexiglass screen at reception desk and store checkout checkout all fall into this category. The second kind are solutions that aim to make people interact less. These include redesigning physical spaces, means to minimize interactions or high touch surfaces. Redesigning workflow means to enable work to be done in parallel or sequence rather than jointly. And redesign people management process mean to minimizing interaction across group or team. reduction in capacity, whether of employees through layoff and furlough, or customers through limits on occupancy for all fall into this category as well. Always on solution impose additional cost on business. There are direct costs for things like productive, protective equipment and more frequent cleaning. If the always on solution involve reduced capacity,
Sir,
profit will fall.
sorry to interrupt, sir. You have few minutes, yeah, just to wind off.
Yes,
I I
yes,
request
yes,
you to,
yes.
yes.
Yeah. Few, few slides. Finally, re-engineering, re-engineered space, workflow, and process may lead to lower productivity, greater inefficiency, or unhappier workers. Of course, certain changes could increase productivity. Some business, especially those in high population density cities like Mumbai, report that work from home has made them more productive, mainly because it eliminates long commutes. Different type of business lends themselves differently to always on solution. It's easier to maintain social distancing in, in garden centers than in hair salons. Some businesses are choosing not to open even if they are allowed to. Many restaurants have elected to keep their dine-in service closed because with social distancing they can't allow in enough customers at time to enter their staff. Friends, now turning the last portion, we must also decide how our day-to-day process should change to limit the spread of disease should an infected person arrive in our workplace and consider how these changes will affect both safety and productivity. Thank you for listening studiously. Be safe and be happy. Thank you very much. Over to ma'am.
Thanks, Dr. Azdi, for concentrating on the challenges being faced by educational institutes and other fields and the need for strategic planning aided by innovations in technology and its implementation by all the stakeholders. I would like to make a comment here that the online education has to be done in moderation, keeping in view the different demographic needs of our students. So, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, we also started the same procedures, and first of all, we are getting training from the institutions to the faculties and student as well. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you so much for such an informative talk. Thank you. Next, we have the invited speaker for the day for this session, Professor Vivek Paul Shettivar, who has, after his PhD in 2005, worked as a postdoc in France and USA for a few years before starting his own independent group at cost in 2009. In 2013, he moved to TIFR with his group here working on the development of novel nanomaterials as catalysts to tackle climate change. He has published nearly 100 articles with H-index 54 and around 12,000 citations in reputed journals. He is recipient of prestigious ORISE Research Fellowship at US EPA. He was awarded as top 25 cited author in 2011 by Tetrahedron and Young Scientist Award at DSL 2012. He has received an Asian Rising Star Lecturership at 15th Asian Chemical Congress, Singapore 2013 from Nobel laureate Professor Aichi Negishi. In 2015, He was admitted as a Fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry, UK. He was awarded Bronze Medal by CRSI India. He was also recognized as Emerging Investigator, Material Science and 175 Faces of Chemistry by RSC UK. He was awarded the prestigious Material Science, Material Research Society of India, MRSI Medal 2019 and Fellow Maharashtra Academy of Sciences. In 2020, he received Young Research Awards in Nanoscience and Nanotechnology by DST Government of India. His talk will focus on the use of catalysis and nanotechnology to combat climate change. His patented formulation on dendrite-based nanosilica, that is DBNS, is being used worldwide by 150 groups for multifarious applications ranging from solar energy to biomedical applications. Let us now greet Professor Paul Shettiver for his enlightening talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for your introduction. So can you hear me and can you see my slides?
Yeah, both are, your slide is visible as well as you are audible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'd like to thank Vishal for giving me the invitation and happy Environment Day to each of you. And on this day, what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss a bit about the environment, mainly the climate change. What is the climate change, the science behind the climate change, and is there a way where we can combat the climate change using the concept of nanotechnology? The talk of my title is Nanotechnology to Protect the Environment, with focus on climate change and viruses. So this is our life. You see the slide where we get energy from sunlight, and then the plant try to CO2, the energy from sunlight, water to give us a food, and then we and animals live on those food. But somehow we increased our population, so there are lots of humans on planet Earth now, especially in India, and we produce lots of CO2 in the environment. And this CO2 ideally is supposed to be taken care by the trees, but now we produce more CO2 and we have less number of trees. So ideally now, you do any number of trees, you're not able to take care of the CO2 in the environment. And that's why what you need some sort of artificial trees which do the same thing what trees are doing, capturing the CO2, capturing the light, and converting that CO2 to useful chemicals and food products. So in my today's talk, I'm going to explain how do one generate those artificial trees, how do one design and prepare those artificial trees. Before that, I just want to then connect with the CO2 again. Why do we really need to worry about the CO2? So in order to understand the role of CO2 in a global warming or climate change, one has to look at the Earth's energy budget. This small slide, you see now we get large amount of energy from our sun. Some of that energy get reflected by the clouds and atmosphere, but large amount of energy get absorbed by our surface, by our the planet's Earth's surface, and then again some part get reflected. And then after the absorption of that energy, there is the secondary phenomena where our surface emits the energy, mostly in the form of infrared radiation, the red one. And now again, that infrared radiation should go out from the environment. Some goes out, some again get absorbed, mostly by the greenhouse gases. One of that is CO2. And again, they back radiate towards the planet Earth. And that's how we maintain the required nice temperature so that we can have a life on the planet Earth. But now what is happening, you are getting energy from the sun. You're supposed to reflect some, emit some to maintain the temperature. But that energy is not really removed off from the planet. And because of the large amount of the CO2 here, it captures that energy, it harvests that energy and sends back to the planet. And that's why more the CO2, more that energy get captured, mainly the infrared radiation, and you increase the temperature of the planet. That's the global warming, right? So, and it's not only the CO2, there are other molecules like methane, water vapors, nitrous oxide. These are all the gases which has, the ability to capture the infrared radiation, which is the radiation which is emitted by most of the surfaces after they capture or after they absorb UV visible light. And so any molecule which absorbs this infrared radiation, ideally called as the greenhouse gases, but then you have to also look at the lifetime of these gases. And CO2 is one of the gas which has a huge lifetime, very stable molecule. So it captures lots of infrared radiation and keep heating the environment. So more the CO2, more will be the global warming. So if you see the CO2 increase, now up to 1950, CO2 was around 300 ppm in our environment. But after industrial revolution, we started using, our life become more artificial. We started using artificial energy sources for every single thing. And that's why up from 1950, now there is a dramatic increase in the CO2 concentration. And now so now, because you have more CO2, what will happen? It will increase the temperature of your planet. That's what is happening. You can see from 1880 to now 2000, you see a dramatic increase in the temperature of our planet. Now, once the temperature increases, what will happen? You see this. This is another example where the ice in the Arctic Sea is melting. This is in millions of kilometers, a huge amount. And when you move from 1980 to now, say up to 2015, this data is, you see that ice is melting. So ice is melting because now you are increasing the temperature, the overall temperature of the planet Earth. Now, because of the ice melting and because of the warming of the water in the sea, what will happen? The sea level will increase. That is what is happening. There is a dramatic increase in the sea level every year. And that should have a serious implication onto the cities which are situated near the sea. For example, Mumbai, where we are from, I'm from. So this is a very recent paper in Nature Communication where they showed that Mumbai, which is currently like this, could be like this if we don't really stop the global warming, if we don't really combat the climate change. So now the question is it too late to stop the climate change? Can we do something? Or this is an automated reaction that cannot be stopped, and we are going to extinct from the planet Earth. That may be too much to say, but ideally, if you look at the solutions, there are two solutions. One is the societal changes in the behavior of a humankind, how they live, how much amount of energy they use, how much natural resources they extract and use, and use rather than use and throw. These are the things. So these are the behavioral or societal changes that every human being has to follow. In addition to that, we also need to get help from science. Can I develop a technology which will do the same thing what the trees are doing? Right? If you look at the simple solution for the global warming, is this the reason is CO2 gas. If somehow I can capture the CO2 gas from the environment and convert into, say, CNG, right? Delhi, most of the people drive their car and everything using the CNG gas. It's a methane gas, right? So if I somehow capture the CO2 from the environment, react with water, and use the sunlight, everything free, naturally available, and convert that into CNG, artificial CNG, then it should solve the CO2 problem. So that's one of the way one can solve the CO2 problem. One can solve the climate change, or at least combat the climate change. And now the question is, how do I do that? How do I do the thing that natural trees are doing? How do I build the artificial trees? And that can be done by using the concept of nanotechnology. So briefly, nanotechnology is a concept, is actually, in a simple language, all the materials which are in a nanoscale size. It's a just simple scale, like a meter, centimeter, millimeter. It's a nanometer scale, which is 10 to the power minus 9 meter. So any material which is in these scale, all called the nanomaterials. And if you use that nanomaterial to develop the technology, you call that as a nanotechnology. But the question is then, why does the nanomaterial is so unique as compared to other material? So just to give an example, the gold, most of us use the gold jewelry. They are yellow, shiny gold. You know why? Because these golds are metallic. They have a huge electron cloud around the surface. So as soon as light comes to the surface, it reflects most of the light, except some blue portion. And that's why it has a yellow color. But now the same macro means the bulk material, when changed to a smaller size of the nanoparticle, say 5 nanometer, 20 nanometer, you can make a gold of a different color. You can make a pink gold, blue gold, the color that you want. It's still a gold, but a different color. So that's the beauty of a nanotechnology, where you can change the properties of the material by simply changing the size. Another example is a melting point. I guess we all know what is melting point, right? When a solid converts into liquid. So what we observe that bulk gold melts at 1064 degrees Celsius. You need to heat really high to melt them. But whereas a nano gold up a 2.5 nanometer size melts at 300 degrees Celsius. Very small amount of energy is required as compared to the bulk gold. So you can change the optical properties, you can change the physical property, you can make mechanically strong material, you can change their several other property like surface area and several other atomic arrangements and other properties using the concept of nanotechnology. Now the question is, can I use this concept of nanotechnology to develop artificial trees which will have ability to capture the CO2 and give me the CNG and I can drive my car? Something like this. A big dream is, I have a car, I want to fill that car with the CO2 once in a lifetime and keep driving all my lifetime. No, it looks like a dream thing, right? But if you really look at the science, it's very simple. At least it's very straightforward. CO2, you fill in the car, and somehow I have to convert that CO2 into methane. Methane is your CNG gas. Now, if I convert CO2 into methane, I need to have some converter, right? Most of our car has some converter to remove the pollutant, but we need to now have another type of a converter which will convert CO2 to methane. Methane is your CNG gas. I burn the methane the way you burn the CNG. I drive the car, right, using that energy. And once you burn the methane, get the energy, drive your car. Drive your car means you do run any instruments or do any work. And then once that happens, you again get back the CO2. Now don't let that CO2 go into the environment. It goes back to the car again, into the catalytic converter, convert that CO2 into methane. So some sort of cyclic process where CO2 gives in, burn the methane, gets the energy, drive the car, then methane convert back to CO2, and again you convert CO2 to methane. And you convert that by reacting CO2 simply with water, right, and the solar energy. Both of them are free, right, naturally available. So it will be like a artificially created natural source of energy, like CO2, which is our main cause of global warming and climate change, now will become an energy source. So that's what we need to do. We need to make CO2 a friend rather than an enemy by using by developing some sort of a technology to convert CO2 into fuel. So that is what my group did. This bit chemistry here, but this is a new nanomaterial that we developed in our lab, which will help us in this big goal of artificial trees, where I can convert CO2 into fuel and run my car. So this is one of the material that we developed in our lab and several patents and publications. These are the same images. I skip this, and these are the TM images showing you the particle. And how do we make them? Maybe this is too technical, but I just want to show you the synthesis is more like a natural process. So these are the molecules that we use to start the synthesis. And when you take these molecules and add into some solvent, say water and some other solvent, because of the repulsion between them, because of some sort of a crowding, they try to self-assemble between each other and minimize the total energy of the system. And we add another molecule to again minimize the total energy of the system, stabilize these interfaces. I know this is more like a micellar thing. This is called a lamellar micelles, the way you see it in your soap solution for methane. And what we observe that these are not really planar. They are not nearly floating in a horizontal way, but they are in the form of a microemulsion droplet. And these droplets are not a nanoparticle. These are just made up of a small organic molecules and a solvent like water and xylene. So these are my reactors, right? And then I grow the nanoparticle in these small nano reactors. And you get a different kinds of nanomaterial, in this case, a silica particles. Now we can keep these droplets away from each other. I get a smaller particle, or I can force them to merge. And if they merge, I should ideally get a bigger droplet. And if I get a bigger droplet, you get a bigger nanoparticle, right? I skip the animation to save the time. This is our material that we patented, and now more than 150 group worldwide is using our material, not only for catalysis and CO2 mitigation, but lots of application in drug delivery, energy harvesting, sensor, storage, several other applications. Now, that was just a silica, which the silica is like a sand on the beaches, right? Doesn't do much of the chemistry as such. It doesn't really activate the CO2 because I want to convert CO2 into CNG and then drive the car. So we develop a new material based on that silica material called black gold, which has the ability to harvest the solar energy, which has the ability to capture the CO2 and the water and force all that three together to form the methane. Now, what is black gold? So black gold is really a gold which is black in color. We know our normal gold is yellow in color because it reflects most of the light and has some tiny amount of blue light get absorbed. And that's why it has this yellow color. So we develop a material which absorbs entire visible light and even IR light from the solar spectrum. And that's why you get a very dark black colored gold. So it's still a gold, but black in color. And the beauty is not the black in color, but the beauty is because now it has the ability to harvest all the sunlight that it sees, you will able to do a large amount of CO2 convert into fuel, into CNG gas. And not only the CO2 to fuel, but we also showed that one can take a seawater, add the black gold, expose with the sunlight, and you can convert seawater into drinkable water. No electricity is required. A pure, natural way of converting seawater into a pure water, a drinkable water. This is the big dream that I said, that we have to convert CO2 into methane, and I showed you in my lab that we already showed that CO2 plus water exposed with the light get you the methane. So, right? So this dream, which looks really a big dream, is ideally possible. Only thing that is still on hold is the productivity. I'm not able to, but me or any other group are not able to convert lots of CO2 into methane. So productivity is the low, and obviously I'm using expensive gold. So if I somehow change the gold into some cheaper material, and if I convert large amount of CO2 into large number of methane, then this big dream could be possible. And here, the importance of the fundamental science is what you see. There need a fundamental breakthrough in the field of catalysis and chemical sciences, where I should develop a material which will have ability to convert large amount of CO2 into large number of methane. Then ideally, you can solve the climate change problem. You can take care of the CO2. Right, there's another example where we showed that you can only take a normal silica and create some sort of a defect. No, you don't use metals or any expensive thing. Use only silica, create some defects, take out some of the oxygen from that SiO2, and that also catalyzes the CO2 to methane conversion. If we are not able to do the conversion, you can also capture it, minimize the impact of the CO2. So we showed that we can capture the CO2 coming from the environment and you store the CO2. That way, again, you reduce the CO2 concentration from the environment, and you will be able to combat the climate change, reduce the global warming. Now we are in an era of COVID-19, right? So coronavirus, if you really if you read, it's not the first one. There are several coronavirus came before, not that dangerous like the COVID-19, but there are several coronavirus, there's several research about their structure, their mode of action. So that's why now suddenly there are research group who are coming up with a way to tackle the COVID-19 in terms of drugs or some other way of stopping the coronavirus. But think about this. If our planet is infected with a virus which humankind never saw before, we don't know anything about that virus. We don't know the protein, we don't know the structure. We don't know whether it has a surface protein, how it binds with our body. We don't know anything. Right now, we know most of the thing about the COVID-19. But think about a virus which is coming from some blue sky. We don't know anything about that. Then it will be a really, really dangerous thing, 1,000 times more dangerous than the COVID-19. And this is what is happening ideally. Because of the global warming and because the global warming causes ice to melt, there are diseases hidden in the ice and they are waking up. So throughout the history, humans have existed side by side with the bacteria and viruses, right? We evolved to resist them, and then the viruses and bacteria evolved to resist us and infect us. COVID-19 is the situation where they are the winner. But what will happen if suddenly we expose to a deadly bacteria and viruses that have been absent from thousands of years? And if you recently see, in 2005, there is a study by the NASA scientists who observed that they recover a bacteria which was 32,000 years old. After 2 years, another bacteria.
Sorry to interrupt, Professor Vivek. We would like you to conclude in few minutes.
Yes, 1 minute. Yes, within 1 minute, I will conclude. Yeah. So these are the examples where there are several bacteria that they are recovering, are isolating, and you can see some of these bacteria are resistant to 18 types of antibiotics, all the top antibiotics. So we really don't have a vessel or way to fight these bacteria and viruses coming from the ice. So you can see the climate change has a huge impact, not onto the environment, but also onto the health. And then one can use the magnetic nanoparticles or several other different kinds of nanoparticles, which will help you to detect the virus, which will help you to protect from the virus, or which will help you to treat the virus, kill the virus in your body using different kinds of nanomaterial as a nanomedicine, right? I think there is an example where we showed that one can use also our DFNS to, do Ayurvedic drug delivery. Somehow Indians have lost our touch to our culture and to our Ayurveda, but I think Ayurveda has most of the solution to fight these climate change issues in terms of health, and one can combine the nanotechnology with Ayurveda to do that, to achieve that. With that, I like to conclude that nanotechnology can help us to tackle the challenges for energy, the environment and the health. You can see now they are really interconnected. With that, I'd like to thank Terra Institute of Fundamental Research.
Thank you,
We are
Professor.
the oldest institute in the country. The 1st of June, we're celebrating 75th year. This is the institute initiated and founded by Dr. Homi Bhabha. And I like to thank funding agency, Department of Atomic Energy, Shell, Cefipra, Mission Innovation for funding. And I like to again wish you World Environment Day, Happy World Environment Day. And I like to thank you very much for listening to me.
Thanks to Professor Paul Chettiver for his comprehensive talk, and especially on the Environment Day, on the use of nanotechnology as a remedy for combating climate change and other energy-related applications. With the hope that all his dreams come true about artificial energy resources, which will benefit the mankind immensely. His innovative research has commercially been utilized for many applications and will expand its base for many more futuristic applications. With this, there are a few questions. I will ask Dr. Vishal Chaudhary to ask a question he wanted to ask.
First of all, I will wish to say thanks to you. Since I attended your virtual conference on materials for energy harvesting and catalysis, and from there I get the idea to conduct this virtual conference. So the idea of you actually, so thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Vishal.
Ask sir, there are certain harmful effects of nanosilica. So how to tackle with them?
Yes, so that is very important question that you asked. That nanomaterial, are they really safe for the human health? That's the question. But there is no general answer. We cannot say that nanomaterials are not safe, or we cannot say that nanomaterials are safe. Especially the silica. If you look at several drugs, the binder used in a pharmaceutical formulation is silica. So silica itself is not really toxic, and our nanomaterial can go up to 500 nanometer, 1 micron nanometer. So I don't think silica nanoparticle will be really toxic, and there are already people are already using it for drug delivery and formulation. But the other material, like I showed you, the copper oxide can be used to protect coat the mask and protect from the virus. But now nobody knows what will happen if you inhale the copper oxide into your body. So that's where people have to do more research before really jumping on the gun of using the nanoparticle for health protection.
And also, I would like to add that there should be disposal of nanomaterial also should be taken up very seriously, because it's also a very much dangerous for the environment.
It is true, very much. It's true even for the bulk chemicals and bulk materials. So we must need to, even for the electronics, the disposal is something that we Indian doesn't follow. We have a habit of throwing everything, right? Use and throw. We need to have a use, and disposal is something. But obviously, nanomaterials is easy to destroy, right? They are very reactive. So if you add into some base or acid, you can dissolve them and convert into the bulk material. So one has to definitely do that for sure. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Vivek, for such an enlightening talk. And I think we will have another opportunity to listen to you and in future as well. And very much best wishes for your all the dreams come true. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have the next invited speaker for the day. This session is by Professor Satyendra Sharma, who is a PhD in theoretical nuclear physics, structure physics from Department of Physics and Astrophysics, Delhi University in 1989. He is presently working as a professor, Department of Physics, Yobe State University, Nigeria. He has worked on various academic positions such as head physics department, director during his tenure. He is a member of more than 20 professional bodies, and he has teaching experience of more than 32 years. 5 students have been awarded PhD under his supervision, and many more are in progress. He is a member and reviewer of various international journals. His talk will provide insights into the data related to the cases in different states of India from lockdown 1 to 4 due to this deadly virus. The effects on educational institutes, environment, pollution, mental and emotional health will be discussed by him. It is a pleasure to welcome Professor Satyendra Sharma for his informative talk. Over to you, sir.
Actually, there are network issues with sir, so he is sending live his recorded video in a while. So we'll be playing that, and sir will be being online and answering all the queries. Meanwhile, if we can ask Dr. Abhishek to deliver his talk, ma'am.
Okay. So in this we have a talk by a young inspiring scientist, Dr. Abhishek Royal, who is a MPH scholar, Gadjah Mada University, Indonesia, and he can deliver his talk just now. Over to you, Mr. Royal, Dr. Royal.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for giving me the chance. Thank you for inviting me and giving this opportunity. So today I'm going to speak about a very important point or subject that is infodemic during this time of COVID pandemic. So COVID, basically, till now in the history of the world, it has been seen that there has been many pandemics. But infodemic has been this is the first time that this world has seen a infodemic. So what does this term infodemic mean? Infodemic means that there is a sudden outburst and sudden flooding of so much of information over social media or various online platforms, which actually creates confusion across the globe, in which the users do not understand which information is true and what to follow, what not to follow. So this is very simple language, and this is the first time in the history of mankind that the globe is seeing infodemic along with the pandemic. Right? The reason for this infodemic is the increased use of internet and social platforms. So nowadays, we all know that there has been a sudden rise. Currently, there are around 3.6 billion social media users in the world, and around percent of the world population are using some form of internet platforms. So what happens is, like, if somebody is actually making something, cooking something as a part of information, and he is transferring that information over social media platforms, be it Twitter, be it what, it spreads like a fire in a forest. So what happens is, like, this information, whether it is credible or not, gets transferred very fast than the information that is given by WHO or Ministry of Health in country. So what are the repercussions of this? What are the repercussions of this infodemic during this pandemic? But what happens is, like, this infodemic actually is compromising our fight against this outbreak. What happens is, like, many people actually are unable to understand which measures are correct, which measures are wrong, and what they have to do, they don't have to do. For example, in the beginning, there was a huge infodemic and information transmission that people should buy and take hydroxychloroquine tablets. So what people did, especially in India, that they were going to chemist shops and they are purchasing hydroxychloroquine tablets over the counter. So there has been false social media posts and false articles about that, and this drug is actually is actually very risky because it has effects on heart rates of the people and may be responsible for the death of a person who is actually elderly. So at that point of time, people do not understand the severity of the use of a medicine, and on the basis of social media platforms and news circulated over those platforms, they actually purchase medicine and they are eating and having that tablet irrationally. So what happens, and it has compromised the fight against the pandemic because they have stopped using the measures that are actually authentic to stop the transmission of the virus. So this is actually very important because they are using wrong intervention and they are ignoring the information that we have to follow because of the news that is circulated over the social media platforms. One more very important point is, like, this is the pandemic where it has been sensationalized a lot. We are counting every death, we are counting every case daily on a daily basis. And social media is actually circulating a lot of photographs, videos that are taken during the hospitals for the COVID patients. We don't know whether those videos are actually from the COVID patients or the past patients. There has been videos which were circulated from the past incidents, and they have been shown like this is the situation during the current COVID situation. So wrong information is actually also preventing people, making people fear about the situation. And there's a lot of mental health compromise due to the wrong information that is circulating. We have never counted the deaths due to road traffic accidents, due to tuberculosis, due to cancer patients daily. but why we are counting the deaths of the COVID pandemic. And since we are counting it, millions of people are actually compromising their mental health because of that counting of deaths and cases. So this is also a form of infodemic. This is actually also leading to a lot of xenophobia and racism. People belonging to the Chinese background, whether they are responsible for the spread of the disease or not, they are actually very much discriminated all across the world. And in Indian perspective, people coming from the northeast part of the country, they are actually treated and discriminated and facing violence because of the same origin and similar physical attributes. So thereby, this kind of infodemic is actually compromising our fight and actually making it difficult for the authorities to control the spread of this virus. So because it is going to be a very small talk, I just wanted to jump up to the how to end this, how to control this infodemic in the current timings. First of all, understand very important point that whatever you are reading, whatever source of news that you are getting, consider the source of that information. Whether only accept the information and the news that has been circulated either by World Health Organization or Ministry of Health of the respective country. So at that point of time, if you are considering the source of the information, you should always neglect, and you should not trust the sources, other sources spreading the information. There should be a cross check between the numbers, figures, and things with the official websites. If, for example, you got an article through WhatsApp and it states something which is actually making you panic, so you should cross-check that information with the official website of your Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health is always giving all form of information that is actually correct and true. If you are not finding any kind of information on Ministry of Health, you can definitely drop messages through their helpline numbers or even on the WHO portal, where you can cross-check the reliability of that particular information. Also check the date of the particular information, because what was true in this situation 10 days back might not be true currently, because the science is actually very rapidly changing, and people, the studies that were good 1 month back are not good right now. They have become obsolete within 1 month. So something that was written 10 days back or 15 days back or 1 month back might not stand true right now. So clearly check the date and updates of the information that you are getting. Read beyond the taglines and the headline of that particular news, because what happens is, like, people try to write in a very sensationalized manner. They will write a very fancy tagline. Okay, this is gonna die, or there's gonna be an apocalypse, or something like that. So an actual information and the loophole in that information is written in the middle of the article. Try to read the entire article before before accepting it, or before trusting on that particular information. Also, do not forward every message. We have a very big tendency of forwarding 10-15 messages that we are getting through our WhatsApps. So try to read everything, try to analyze everything, try to cross-check everything before forwarding it, and only forward those messages which is actually authentic and has been proven true. So, and the last very important point is, do not give in to the panic situation. I would like to say one very important point from this pandemic point of view. There has been in number of pandemics that has happened in the last 100 years. There has been viruses that has emerged during the last decade also, Ebola, Zika, even Nipah virus, which are having mortality which is way far above the level of this coronavirus. Nipah virus has a mortality of 75%. That means out of 100 patients infected of Nipah virus, 75 at least are gonna die. So there have been viruses which are more fatal than this virus, and they also get down on their own. So it doesn't matter. This is the peak phase of the pandemic. In future, in upcoming week and month, the pandemic is gonna come down, whether our efforts, because of our efforts, or because on its natural progress also. So do not take it as a way that it is not gonna subside. It is gonna get weakened. It is gonna get subside. So relax. do whatever you can do to prevent infection among yourself and to spread infection among your loved ones, because this pandemic will subside, but how many people are going to die, this is in our hands. That's why it is very important to follow the actual information and follow the right procedures and preventive measures. So do not get into that infodemic part. Only read and focus and follow the information which is actually authentic. I guess this much is the time that has been given to me. Thanks a lot. I'm ready to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Royal, for your informative talk and your emphasis on misinformation and reliability of sources and information, which are very paramount for this crisis. There has to be awareness that the ministry sites or the government site or the WHO site have to be consulted for these for any advice or any guidance, and I think that will be a very good approach which one should adopt. I think keeping a vigil on the early symptoms is also something one should take care of oneself as well as of the surrounding, because the early the detection, the early will be the, I think, diagnosis, and early will be the stage which can be really dealt with.
Signs and symptoms actually are very common in COVID. Being a doctor, I can say that. So we cannot say whether we are, because headache, cold and cough, and similar symptoms can be because of 100 other diseases. It's always good to be vigilant if we are having that kind of symptoms, and if those symptoms are actually worsening, we should approach for testing services. But the first thing before even going for testing services is to quarantine yourself, because even if you get it, you should actually not give it to others, especially the people who are compromised or having other diseases, or the older people in your home. You should not give it to them, because you are young, you might not get the severe effects of that infection, but others can. So even if you are getting some kind of symptoms, you should first isolate yourself from others and monitor yourself. If the situation and the condition is actually worsening, then you should go for the testing and all those process of diagnosis, testing, and treatment availing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your useful talk, and thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Now I would invite Professor Satyendra Sharma to address the audience and say a few words. Thank you, sir. Hello, yes, sir. Are you there? Yes,
Sir
sir.
is in Nigeria. We are trying to get him on hold. So just give us 2 minutes. There are network issues with it.
So in that case, can we move on, or
Just wait for me. Sir is on call. So please, sir, you can address them. Please go ahead. Yes, sir, please.
Can I start?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I am very much giving me the opportunity to introduce the virtual conference on the topic of the environment and pandemic. I'm also thankful to the principal of the college, Bhagini Nivedita College, Dr. Charu Sharma. Thank you, madam. Now, Dr. Vandana Luthra is our chairperson from this session. Madam, I have forwarded the link which is on the YouTube link because of the technical problem from this side. So he can use the link and this talk will be available there. Is it okay?
Yeah, thank you so much for your providing the talk, sir. Participants can go to the link and they can have a view on that, and then they can get back to you in case there are any queries or anything. And thank you so much for your deliberations on the pressing issues discussed in that, and especially those are more relevant for the post-COVID era. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's our pleasure to have you, sir, here. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our panel discussion, in which we have got 4 panelists. Dr. E.R. Vishal Talwar, Principal Analyst, Advanced. Dr. Vivek, Assistant Professor, GG, SIPU. Dr. Birendra Singh, Assistant Professor, GMGC MP. Dr. Ramesh Kumar, Assistant Professor, ASC Bihar. I will hand over this session to Dr. Vishal Chaudhary for taking it forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. To request our panelists to give their view on the topic contribution of individual people and technology to battle against pandemic. So first, I would like to invite Mr. Vishal Talwar, panelist. Are you there, sir? Mr. Vishal Talwar?
Yeah, thank you, Vishal.
Yes, sir.
I hope everyone can hear me. Yeah?
Yeah, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So I would like to thank you everyone for inviting me, and I also hope everyone is safe, healthy, and in good spirits during this pandemic situation. Uh, as you all know, these are the very tough times, and a lot of us, or maybe most of us, are going through a time which is not seen by anyone else in the past. So I would like to thank all the participants, members, organizing committee to enable international virtual conference on the occasion of World Environment Day. And I'm sure this event will bring together some of the great thoughts and motivation to all the listeners and across the participants. So maybe I can start with introducing myself. So as Vishal said, I'm a principal analyst at Avasant. So typically, I'm involved in understanding technology role and its impact on the business and day-to-day life of the individuals. So as you know that things are critical, and a lot of people have lost their lives. And I will touch some points how technology is helping us and enabling the environment to be more secure, and how things will be enhanced and advanced with this technology shift. So I want to touch a couple of points, and I see these are critical, and will give an overview on the how technology is helping world to be a better place to live and to have a sustainability in the future. So if I see, there are some major aspects that we see in the current environment. So one of the major aspect is business continuity. So how the business, how the jobs will survive in the pandemic situation or during the COVID-19, because a lot of people might lose their job, and the major challenge during this pandemic has been not being able to work in the same manner as before that we were doing. So a lot of changes will be happening in the offices, at home, or maybe when we go outside. So lot of preparedness is happening. People are getting some, you can say they are observing things are happening and they are taking precautions. So maybe some of being choosing to stay at home, and like a lot of people are doing online meetings. Collaboration platforms are a big motivation for us, and also helping us to run the businesses and doing the interactions across the teams and work. So business continuity is a big thing that is supported by technology. Then if you see the usage of smartphones, that again brings a lot of benefits in the economy, and how the exposure to the people is enhanced with the use of smartphones. So again, as I said, video conferencing plays a very crucial role here. So a lot of things are enabled with the help of video conferencing, which would have stopped, because the interaction and how things are happening is all enabled by the technology. Then I will again put a lot of focus on how technology is helping in designing the way the work is being done and how we operate. So you might have heard like a lot of usage of artificial intelligence, robotics is being happening in the hospitals. So given the situation like COVID, where human interaction poses a very serious challenge, so the intervention of technology is something which help us in doing things which are not possible in other situations. So if I say, with the help of AI, we can still analyze and do what type of predictions, and how how the COVID situation is basically getting worse in some countries, and in some countries we see that situation is normalizing. So with those trends and those scenarios, we can shape up and understand how we can solve the problem that we have in the country, where we see a lot of cases rising and those things. So I will take a pause and see if anyone has a question, a specific question around it, and maybe we can discuss more about technology impact. Thank you.
Vishal, I would like to ask this artificial intelligence we are talking about.
Yeah.
Is it rule or is it curse to humanity? So there is a lot of debate about artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
So there are movies like Transformer where it has been shown that robots can actually rule mankind. So is there a possibility of that? What are your views on the side effects, I would say, of artificial intelligence?
So artificial intelligence, in my viewpoint, create a lot of opportunities in the business world. So if you see, with the help of artificial intelligence, we are creating new jobs as well. So we are helping, if I see healthcare sector, helping patients to understand their past history and see what type of medicines they have taken in the past, and how those medicines has affected them. So a lot of things, artificial intelligence give you a analysis of the data that we have collected in the past. So that helps us in analyzing the situation better, and thus making a decision making. So with the help of artificial intelligence, decision making improves, and we can rely more on the results and data points.
Right, right. So I'll get back to Vishal. So now I would like to invite our next panelist, Dr. Virendra Singh. He is an assistant professor from GMGC, Madhya Pradesh, India. Sir, are you able to hear me? Dr. Virendra Singh?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Uh, uh, Dear, good afternoon. So, first of all, I would like to thanks to principal of Nivedita College and winner of this fantastic conference, and special thanks to Dr. Vishal Chaudhary for providing me a platform. So, dear friends, we are aware of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, which spread continuously all over the world. It is being for our society. For this particular situation, so in this kind of the situation, an individual has more important multiple objectives. Okay. So for the particular and how to make this spreading awareness and all the safety measures like as per the WHO guidelines, government of India, and providing the services and telephone to the needy at the personal or the social level, keeping all the precaution in the mind. About the social gathering, these are some safety features we should also keep in mind. And of the technology development, we know it is the HFR. Okay, so without technology, I uh, do the solution in the particular situation. Okay, like technology, using digital technology means that using a digital modem and
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. There is a technical network issue from at your end, so we are not able to hear you clearly. I will get back to you in few minutes. Till then, I guess this network issue has been would be rectified. So please check the network issue because we are not able to hear you. I will get back to you after our next panelist. So I would like to invite Dr. Vivek Chaudhary, assistant professor from GGSIPU University, Delhi. So, Dr. Vivek, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon,
Please,
everyone.
please.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Am I
you are
audible?
audible. Please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. It is a great pleasure for me to be a part of this great initiative taken by BNC College. I like to thank Dr. Vishal Chaudhary as well as Purnima for having me in this talk. Today, I will talk about the contribution of technology to battle against this pandemic which is going on, which is Corona. Today we are seeing that the rapid spread of COVID-19 has forced country to use every trick in the book to contain the disease. In this pandemic situation, technology proves to be a boon for our society. First of all, we are seeing this boon, this development of technology in online teaching, in education.
The source for the immunity boosters as the studies says, as there are in many research papers. So I guess let us conclude this session, and I will invite Dr. Malhotra ma'am to please conclude this session. Please, ma'am.
Yeah. There is another general question not related to the panel discussion. It was just the bad need to check news repeatedly is promoting stress, anxiety, and panic among people. What should be done about this?
I guess Purnima, let us conclude, and we will
Yeah, I think because
since
these
we
are
are not
general questions. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The different opinions and discussions on different strategies will play a vital role to win against the pandemic. It is important that collective measures in right direction can be beneficial to cope with the critical situations. It has been an incredible experience to be a part of this session on people and pandemic. The insights by the eminent scientists have provided a comprehensive view, challenges being faced, futuristic strategies, and the important role of science and technology. I would extend thanks to Professor Radhe S. Pradhan, Dr. Sundar Rajdeep, Professor Vivek Potchettivar, and Professor Satendra Sharma for their informating and illuminating talks. Thanks are also due to the young scientist Dr. Abhishek Royal and all the panelists, Dr. E.R. Vishal Talwar, Dr. Virendra Singh, and Dr. Vivek, for their immense contribution to the discussion. I would like to thank all the participants from India and abroad that have taken time to attend this conference online as well as on Google Meet. And these discussions have provided assessment of the situation and will be useful for formulating solutions. As per the theme of the conference, the whole world is a family, and I would like to reiterate that this theme, as we go forward and collective efforts, would certainly bring brighter days ahead. Finally, I would like to thank the principal, Dr. Charu Sharma, conveners, Dr. Vishal Chaudhary, and Dr. Purnima Dhar, and other members for providing this opportunity, and hearty congratulations for the organization of this meaningful event. When things do not go your way, remember that every challenge, every adversity contains within it the seeds of opportunity and growth. This is by Roy T. Bennett, and we all are searching and practicing new avenues of growth and opportunities, and together we will win. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, to chair this session. You were a great help. You were like a Sarthi for us, like Krishna did in Mahabharata. I used to see Mahabharata a lot these days, so I am into Ramayana and Mahabharata a lot. So you played a Sarthi for us today, and thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to all of you, and very many congratulations to everyone in the college who has worked day and night for bringing this. I know it's a very, very tough job, and you have done it very, very nicely. To all of you, thank you very much.
Over to Purnima.
I just want to thank on behalf of the Bhagini Nivedita College, Dr. Vandana Luthra, Vishal Talwar, Dr. Vivek, Assistant Professor, Dr. Virendra Singh, Assistant Professor Dr. Ramesh Kumar, Assistant Professor, and the invited speakers, and also the participants who make this conference, the day of the conference, a successful one. Thanks a lot. And special thanks to Vandana ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you very much. Thanks.
So let us meet tomorrow for the next session. So at 11 o'clock, I would request all you to join before 10 minutes the session, so you can join at 10:50. So tomorrow we will be having two sessions. One session will be on pandemic and technology. It will be from 11 to 1. Professor V.K. and Vice Chancellor Teaching University will be the guest of honor, and there will be plenary talk by Professor R.P. Tandon, Professor Terence Pereira from SSF University, UK, Dr. Pankaj Kumar Chauhan from Jamia Hamdard University, and a researcher from Johns Hopkins University, and then young scientist from Dr. Paras Gaur from Hungary. And there are a lot of taste of India. There are young scientists from all over the India. And then in the session 2, we are going to have Professor Kulshes, ex-head of Department of Physics and Astrophysics, University of Delhi, Professor Poonam Sanotia from Department of Physics and Astrophysics, University of Delhi. This session is especially dedicated to the physics. So the session is titled as Pandemic in Physics, and there will be many invited talks and flash scientist presentations. So they will be showing their ideas in 5 minutes and 10 minutes as given in the schedule. So I request you all to kindly join again us, and once again I will thank all the plenary speakers, chief guests of the day, our chair, our Vanna ma'am. So I wish to thanks to everyone who is present and who helped us to make it a big success, I guess. So we'll be continuing tomorrow. Sharp at 11 we will start. So I request you to join by 10:50. Over to you, Purnima.
Now I'm ending this session with a note that we are meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock for the next session of this conference. Okay, then one news is there. Everyone is asking regarding the feedback form. The feedback form will be provided at the end of the conference. That is on 7th June, not in between the sessions.
I would like to add one thing. Vanna ma'am, we will be happy to have you as a